Hey, everybody. This is our last lecture, and this will be on all things Lumion. Might be a little packed, but hopefully it'll be fun for you. Lumion's a very fun and sort of addicting rendering program, and I don't like to introduce it right away because once you go Lumion, a lot of students just don't go back. And through the course of the semester, we've kind of learned all these skills about how to export different things, say from SketchUp or Podium, and bring things in to Photoshop and combine, and we can sort of control the appearance of things separately. There's a lot there. And Lumion could sort of take you in a whole nother direction, and you can kind of get lost in Lumion, and you wouldn't learn those other skills that we sort of hit already. So that's why I like to go through those things first before we get to this photorealism. So this is kind of like crack for the eyes, I guess like I personally, if you think about it, we started in SketchUp, so you have the ability to do some sort of conceptual imagery. Then we went to Podium, which sort of has some kind of real quality in it in terms of reflectivity, shadows and gradients and things like that. And then we also have now Lumion, which is like hyperrealism. So we sort of have these three buckets of possible image styles that you could create now after taking this class. So it'll be interesting, to pick from those three buckets on presenting your work. So this will be really good for portfolio work. Do you want all the work in your portfolio to be more sketchy, SketchUp-y, something more in the middle range like Podium, or something more like realistic like Lumion? Because for your portfolio work, you will have to sort of kind of redo a lot of projects and just get them up to snuff for something that looks cool, in your portfolio. So here's what I have here. I've got this Lumion render model that I'll use as an example. And I also have Lumion open. So it's loaded, ready to go. I haven't done anything in Lumion yet. That is the window that will appear to you once you get it up and running. So first things first, in SketchUp, what I like to do is install this extension, Lumion Live Sync. In order to install extensions into your SketchUp, you have to be signed in to Trimble. Okay. So that's just having a SketchUp account, which I'm sure most, if not all of you already do. So how we get to adding extensions is just like we go to the 3D warehouse to find different models. We can go to the extension warehouse to find different tools that we can put into our model. So I'm signed in here already. And if I just go up to the top and search for Lumion, you can do Lumion Live Sync or just Lumion. And here we go. It's this first one. It's called Lumion Live Sync. So what's really, really handy about this, so basically when you're in this extension here, you just click install, and then this little thing will appear in your SketchUp, and it will be there all the time as you move forward, assuming you're working on the same computer. You might need to install that every time you remote access in because you're working on a different computer every time. So you'll just have to see what happens. Okay, so here's Lumion Live Sync. Now what this is going to do is align the view in Lumion to exactly how I'm viewing the model in SketchUp. Really, really handy to sort of fine-tune views and make it look exactly how you want things to look. Likewise, you might find the navigation tools just fine in Lumion. Me personally, I like to kind of look in SketchUp and then sort of fine-tune it in Lumion, and you'll see how we do that. Okay, so we're ready to go here. So the first thing we want to do in Lumion is pick a background, okay, or pick a setting where you want this thing to live. I'm going to choose this mountain range one. That seems to be the one I always choose, but yeah, I'll do that one. So I'm going to click mountain range. Okay, so now it's loading that scene, and there's going to be nothing in it at the moment. Okay, now let me go back to SketchUp here. Okay. So here's my three-dimensional space of Lumion. Now to navigate around in Lumion, you can use your arrows left. Let me get back over here. Okay, left, right, back, front. So it's just like we're walking on this like a kind of grassy infinite surface. Likewise, you can do A is left, D is right, S is back, W is forward, Q is up, E is down. So those one, two, three, four, but 6 buttons over there. So a lot of people like to kind of just keep their left hand over there, and they can control them again over there. So A is left, D is right, S is back, W is forward, Q is up, E is down. Okay, Q is up. Now your right mouse button is sort of moving your eye around in your head, right? Just looking around. So I'm holding down the right mouse button, just sort of looking around. Okay, so that's your basic navigation. Okay, that's navigation for Lumion. But now we got this live sync here in SketchUp. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button here. Now what that's going to do is bring the model over into Lumion. Now it might take a second. Boom, there it is. Now as I rotate about SketchUp, I can see it rotated about Lumion. Now that's kind of nice. Okay, so I'm going to just say zoom in on an area like a good view. Look at that. Now that's a nice view. Now here's what's great about Lumion. Look at the grass. Getting that little like grass coming up into that concrete. I mean, obviously it's going through the concrete here, which isn't correct, but man, that is a very useful thing to really make this thing look and feel embedded. Okay, so you can notice all my materials came over, super handy. So that's all I use LiveSync for, is to sort of bring the model over. And then if I want to navigate in a particular way, I like to do that in here versus in Lumion. Okay. So I'm just going to switch over to Lumion for the time being. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me get a little closer there. There we go. That looks like kind of a cool shot there. Tilt my camera up. Okay, I'll make my screen bigger here. There we go. Okay, so let's just talk about some of the controls in Lumion. I think where a good place to start would be this toolbar over here. Okay, the build tool is what we're on right now. That's where you're going to basically build everything in here, your materials, your setting, your trees, all that kind of stuff. Photo is where we're going to go to actually make the renderings. Movie, you can make animations and panoramas. And this is also where you go to save. Okay, so build, photo, movie, kind of just, that's what this whole thing is about over here. Okay, over here, if we want to place any objects, so we're in build mode, place any objects, we can sort of pick from this little toolbar here and we can place them in. We'll do that in a minute. I'm going to go to the next tab over, materials. If I want to change any materials, this is where I go. If I want to mess with any landscape, this is where I go. And if I want to mess with the sun, that's where I go. So there's 4 tabs there, right? Objects, materials, landscape, weather. Okay, so let's play around with the sun here. Look, I can change the angle of the sky there. I can add more clouds, which is insane. I can make it a little brighter, and I can kind of get the sun right where I want it. So I'm going to kind of move it around, maybe somewhere like that. Yeah, maybe somewhere in there would be a cool view, because now I got the sun sort of shining on this corner, which is about what I wanted. So that looks good for the weather. So I'm not going to actually do anything else there. Now, before I start going in and changing materials and adding things, let's save this view. I like this view. So I'm going to go to my photo tab over here. And this is saying, hey, here are your saved camera views down here. So this is basically, let me just say, this is where you go to actually make the rendering. You get out of build mode, you go into photo mode, you go in here, and it's like, okay, the first slot here, I like that view that we have right now. I'm going to do that and store it right there in the camera. Okay, now I can go back to build mode. I can move this thing around. Doesn't matter, because if I go back to photo mode and was it just click on once on this, I'm back to that view. So we save that view. So I'm going to go back to build mode, and I'm going to go back into here, and we can kind of move around and look around. Okay, so let's talk materials. So I'm going to go, instead of the objects tab, I'm just going to go to the material tab. Okay, now it's saying click on an imported model to modify its material. Now notice when I move my mouse over, I have a couple materials in SketchUp. I have a concrete material, I have an orange material, I have a wood, I have a roof, and I have a green, and that's about it. So any material that I have in SketchUp that is separate, I can now assign it a different material in here. So let's just click on the concrete. It already looks good. Like, I like the texture that I put into SketchUp because that's in here. But if I click this, I could, for example, go and click through these, and I could change here. Nature, let's see, rock, no, outdoor, concrete. I could put in a different concrete by just clicking one of these. So let's just try this one. See, now it's all different. Let's see if I could undo that. I want to show you another technique. Let me close it once. And I'll just hit the X over here. It cancels any of the changes. Okay, back to material editing. I'm back on that tab. I'm going to click the concrete. Now, let's say I don't want to go to any of these tabs and change it to a different material because I like what I have in SketchUp. So here I am in custom. Okay, so what you want to click on is this guy right here, standard. All right, so if I click on standard, now I have some sort of material qualities that I can adjust of the material that I brought in from SketchUp, from the concrete material that I had in SketchUp. So I could boost up its glossiness and its reflectivity. See here how it's really reflecting the sky and the surroundings. You could sort of play around with those too. Maybe I'll add a little glossiness and turn up the reflectivity on the concrete, and that will be good for that. I'm just going to go ahead and pick on a different material. Let's do this wood one up here. I like the color of that. I like that texture. I'm just going to click standard, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to bump its reflectivity and turn the gloss down. Let's see what that does. Hard to really get a sense of it here, but that's fine. All right, I'm going to click this green one here. And actually, I'll just leave that one as is. I'm not going to touch it at all. The roof up here, I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to make that one a little reflective as well. Okay, now I'm going to pick on the glass here. I'm going to click that, and then I'm actually going to go. So I just clicked on glass. Now I'm going to go to menu. No, that's not where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to material library. That's where I want to go. This little folder here, and I'm in indoor glass. I'm just going to pick the first one. So on that particular material, I didn't use the one from SketchUp. I actually just assigned it a Lumion glass material here. So I can click through these, and you can see my glass is changing here to a green. Here's a weird orange. No, thank you. I'm just going to do this pure interior glass 001. That looks good to me. Okay, I do have, that's part of roof dark. Okay, so I've sort of manipulated all the materials a little bit. There's one more right here, this white glow material. If you remember, I had that in for the lighting around the steps. So I'm going to click that one. I'm going to go to standard materials here. And now here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give it any reflectivity or anything. I'm just going to play with some of these settings down here. In fact, all I'm going to do is go to settings, this kind of progress bar looking thing and go to emissive, and I'm just going to crank it up. Now, if you see there on my screen, you can see it's starting to glow a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just crank it really high. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go back to the concrete. I'm going to try this foliage one. Let's watch this craziness. Look, I put leaves on it. That's insane. Here, let's see if we can leaf type. There we go. Get some green ones. All kinds of different. You can play around with this, and that looks a little strange. Oh yeah, we can shrink them down. Ground level. Oh god, look at that. Gonna have leaves take over this whole thing. Isn't that just insane? Okay, I told you it's gonna be intense. It's like the leaves are sort of taking over the I'll leave them like that. That looks pretty. You see they're kind of moving around in the wind. So we've manipulated pretty much all of the materials. I'm going to go over here once I'm done editing the materials and hit the green check. Now I can always go back in material editor tab here, click on a material, change it. You're just going to always have to click that green check again. Okay, so we've sort of manipulated materials. Let's add some lights and some trees. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my SketchUp model, and I'm going to sort of, if you recall on this, I have a light here, a light here, and a light here. Let's add some spots there. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in, and you can see that they're sort of glowing already because I gave them an emissive material. So here I am. Okay, I'm going to go to place objects here, and I'm going to click on this light bulb here. Okay, see that right here? And in order to place a light, I'm going to go over to the place button here. Right now it's on the arrow, which is the select tool. So I just want to go on the place. Now I can pick different lights here. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one right here, lamp 16. Now I'm bringing my mouse over, and I'm just going to put it right on that sort of, I'll zoom in a little, right on that shape right at the bottom where the light is, right there. I'll put another one on this one. And you can see the light on the wall now, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to get over to the other one. Let's use some of my, there we go, arrows here. So you can see I don't really like navigating in here as much. Now I could just go to SketchUp and go like this. Press play again here. Hello. There we go. And go back over here, back to place. And I'll put it right there. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom out, go up, back. There. So we added those lights, which are nice. Let's go back to my SketchUp. Sometimes you'll find that your SketchUp unsyncs, and that's fine. You can just hit the play button again. It should bring you right back, and it should not ruin anything. So we added those lights right there. Now I could go to the select button. I could select a light, for example, and delete it by just hitting the little trash can here. Or after I select the light, I can move it around if I want, or I can change the cone angle or the brightness, really blast it. Okay, I'll just tweak that a little bit, or the color. There's a lot you can do there. Okay, let's add some trees now. So I'm going to go back to place. Now I don't want to do lights. I'm going to click on nature here. Get ready for this madness. Now, when I place trees, this is what I like to do. I like to zoom out and sort of, if I know that my view is coming in from this way, I'm going to put some trees back here. Okay, so I'm going to go back into Lumion. Now I could pick 13 pages of trees. It's insane. Let's do, you can see how big they are by having that little person next to it. What's this guy? This looks kind of neat. I'm going to put one here. I'm going to, if you hit Control and then click, it'll put a bunch of them there, like a little patch of them. This is kind of nice. Good way to sort of fill it up rather quickly. Like getting all kinds of different trees in here. Maybe put some in the background. You can see in the background, it's giving you a different representation of the tree because that's how the graphics cards work to sort of help your computer along. Let's look at some broadleaf trees. Ooh, this almond tree looks kind of cool. I'll put one here. One there. I'm just kind of filling it up back there. We can always go back to our view and take a look. So there, we got some trees in. I'm going to hit escape. You could look at some of these other things. There's vehicles. There's people and animals. I always think 3D people look weird because they don't have souls. There's outdoor stuff. You can look through any of these. You can add whatever you want. You can see how this gets a little like Disneyland, right? You can just, get all kinds of crazy stuff in there. Let's see. Effects. Some fountain effects and fire and things like that. Smoke. These are kind of interesting here. I'll put some smoke back here. Okay, there's something going on back there. No one knows what it is. It'd be kind of cool to see coming out of a chimney or something like that. Fog. Oh yeah, some like kind of low-lying fog back here. Could also be smoke. Oh, leaves are always nice to add sort of on the ground. Oh, this is kind of a three-dimensional. I don't know. Are they in the air? Let's see what else. If I go back to nature. Leaf. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Get some kind of leaves here. If we zoom in. Like, it's insane what this program can do. And wait till you see the render time. You're just going to puke all over your screen. I'll put these leaves over here. I'll put some leaves over there on the ground. Maybe an odd pile over there. You can put more in one place. Here we go. This is kind of neat, this kind of corner. I wonder if you could put this in, over here and then rotate it if you wanted to. Clusters of trees and grasses and things. These are always, that's too big. Trunk cluster. Okay, I thought that was grass. Let's try this one. Different grasses. Maybe some wild grass here. Wild grass over there. There we go. So there, I've added quite a bit of different things. So I'm just going to go back to my select here and just go back to let's go back to the photo tab over here. I'm going to go to that for that view. So you can see how this view has changed now. We've got all the leaves, we've got trees. You can see that even though I placed a lot of trees and it looked pretty intense, right here, I can really see all the way back there. So you have to sort of think about that. And it's good to kind of go back and forth and switch to this photo view of the view you saved to sort of be like, okay, is this what I wanted? No, I got to add some more things over there. Oh, okay, I got to go to the build and I got to go in here and add some things. Okay, so then I would just go to trees or nature or whatever you want to do. Maybe you could do the landscape button here and you can sort of, here we go. Let's see here. Raise up some, that's too big. Let's try this. Good sort of, okay. That was a little too much, but actually that kind of works. So I will take that. Maybe I can lower it a little and go to raise. Brush speed. Okay, that's too fast. Let's lower that. Get down. There we go. Okay, but we got a little hill back there, but you sort of get the idea. You could play around with this. The landscape grass, the actual grass on here, you can sort of play with the height of it. You can see it all growing up there and the wildness of it, make it kind of weird looking, patchy. So you can play around with that. So let's say I've got this view. I'm happy where it's at and I'm ready to render. So I'm going to go to photo. I'm going to go to this view. Now, because you're using a student version, you're going to have a watermark on it. What I like to do is zoom out of my view a little bit so I can always just cut it off in Photoshop. Okay, no problem. If I wanted to render this as is, I would just click the green button here and I can decide how big of a render I want. They only give you these 4 options, which is fine. And I would literally pick one and be on my way. Let me close it though, because I want to show you one more thing. Now, I can fine tune this view. Let me see here and store it again. So I'm using my right click mouse button here. I can zoom around. I can also back up a little bit, get it just right. I like this because now I get that whole front corner in. I'm going to restore that camera. Okay, so happy with this view. I can always just click render now, but I want to show you the settings over here. Okay, so right now, this is straight out of Lumion render. Now, I would say that this is an okay render. What you want to do is apply effects to your rendering. Okay, so this is almost like adding graphic qualities, like something you would do in Photoshop. So Lumion sort of has its own little Photoshop. So I could go up to FX right here for add effect. Let's just start from the top. Let's try change custom style. So you could sort of pick one of these, like color sketch. Let me click that. Now look what happened to my drawing. Okay, so the deal here is that these are all the effects that are applied to that custom style. If you like it, you can use it. Now I could click on this again and just do realistic. We get a little more, a different list of effects and something, it just looks a little different. I can click back on this and just do watercolor. It doesn't look that good. It just doesn't look that good. I don't really like that line work in there. Let's see what else they have. Interior. It's not an interior, but it still looks kind of cool. Nice warm. If I click custom style, this is back to square one. Now we can build this. We can add our own styles to it. So let me just show you how to add your own styles and make this a really cool render. So I'm going to click on add effect. Now, some of my materials have reflection, right? So they are reflective, but the only way to really make it believable is by adding this effect, reflection effect. Okay, so let me exit here and show you what I mean. If my concrete is really reflective, don't you think I would see, say, the door in it or some of these orange things? We're not really seeing that right now. So how do we add that? We have to add the reflection effect and add some reflection planes. So if I click on add effect, I'm going to go to reflection. Okay. Now, if I go to, it says edit reflection planes, I'm going to click the edit button. Now we're in this new little window. Now look at the bottom left hand of the screen. See that little plus? I'm going to add a plane. I'm going to click that and I'm going to hover over the top of the concrete here and click. It's highlighting that whole plane. That's going to be one reflection plane. I'm going to add another one for the first step. I'm going to add another one for the third step. I'm going to add another one for the wood up here. And I'm going to add one more for the glass right there. And I'm going to hit the green check. Okay, now look at our reflections here. I'm seeing the light in there. I'm seeing the under light of my under the stair lighting. That is the same material as this. I'm seeing these little sort of structural bars there. So this is reflecting much more accurately now. Now I also want to do the roof here. So if I go back to edit reflection planes and I'm going to click the plus, see if I can get the roof up there. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to click on that number 6 to remove it and I'm going to add it again and see if I can click again. There we go. Now we got the roof in there as well. Hit the green check. Now we're getting a little more accurate reflection of the trees that are actually around it. Okay, so if I just click this little back to effects button, we can see here we've added the reflection. Now, if I hit the little eyeball here, you can see what happens. Everything goes away. But if I turn it back on, that looks a little better. Okay. If I want to get rid of this, I can just double click right here, remove the effect. Okay, there's one for you. I'm going to go back to add effect, and I'm going to go to the camera here. So here are all the tabs. You can sort of go in here and play with all of these. I'm going to do 2-point perspective. And if you just click in the amount here and just crank it, it'll take anything that was sort of angled. I'm going to crank it all the way up and make them all nice and straight vertical lines there on your. If this looks super warped because your camera is pretty crazy, that's how you would straighten it out. Is that up all the way? There we go. All right, let's go back. Let's add one more effect. Back to effects. Come on, sometimes it's going to be a little glitchy. All right, add effect. Pick something else. Let's do sketch. Let's see what we can get here. What's blueprint? Let's try that. Looks terrible. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool. This like cool little line drawing. All right, I'm gonna just go back to effects because this one, I wonder if I moved it down. I don't like this effect because it totally cancels out the rest. So I'm going to double click and remove it. Never tried that one. Let's see. Cartoon. That could be cool. Colors. You could do like, that's kind of cool. Let's do a color correction. Let's see what this does. Okay. Temperature. If I go this way, it's much warmer, obviously. Well, I like that. Saturation, I definitely want to bring that down a little bit. My trees, oh, that looks better. My trees were just a little too punchy. Actually really like how that looks. So I'm actually not going to change anything else. I'm going to go back. Oh, I don't want to add an effect anymore. So I just want to go. This button is always a little weird. So here are the 3 effects that I put on this image. I'm really happy with where it is. I can still go back to the build and I can still change whatever I want in here. If I need to add something or if I need to delete something. Let's say I want to delete this patch of grass over here. I can go to place objects and I can go to the select button right here. And I can grab, say, this patch of grass. I'm going to hit that little dot, and I'm just going to hit the delete button. Okay, now that one went away. Well, now it went away. And I can do these leaves right here. Click that button. There we go. So you don't actually have to select it first. You can just click on the delete button, hover over what you want to delete, and delete. So these are all the trees, as you can see. There's going to be only one for the model. You don't want to get rid of that, but that's sort of how the delete button works. Just one last thing on placing lights. The other thing you might want to do is say place an Omni light. So here I'm going to go to Omni light. I'm just going to pick one of these and I'm just going to put it like right on the ground here, which isn't a good spot, but there it is. Now I'm going to go to my select button here and I'm just going to, if I just click with my left mouse button and I can move it around on the same plane that it's on. Okay. Or I can go down here. So that's move free. I can go to the move up button and I can go up and I can go move horizontal or just move free. Move free you can sort of snap to anything. Let me see if I can. Yeah, see, I'm on this top step. Now I'm on this one. Now I'm on this one. Now I'm sort of on the ground. Um, I find the moving a little goofy, to be honest with you, but it's not bad. Uh, there we go. Let me just move it up. See, it's kind of nice just going from move free to move up, because then you can sort of see, I can blast a light right in the middle there. Maybe I'll just light that up a little bit. Still on the up and down. Actually, I'm going to put it back down right in front of that door. Then I'm going to go up. Just wash some light on that wood. Okay, so that's just adding a fill light, just like a normal point light. All right, let's go back to the photo. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with how this looks. I'm ready to render. I've got enough space on my image here where I can cut it off. I'm going to hit the green button here. And I'm going to do print file, render print, and I'll just call it, I'll save over this one called test. Hit save. You sure you want to overwrite this? Yes. Now it's going to start rendering. So it might not look exactly correct on this screen, but it's just sort of figuring everything out, adding all the detail. You'll see some changes on the screen as it's doing this, but it's halfway done and it's only been like 20 seconds. So that's pretty incredible for a rendering. So we'll just let this finish up. There we go, rendering done. I'm going to open the folder that it's in, and I will open that view. And there we go, a really nice, high quality image with reflections and lighting and gradients. I mean, now that I look at this green's a little boring. So I might want to jazz that up a bit, but maybe I could find a material that I could do that. I think the main takeaways from Lumion are, let's go to it real quick and let me just get back into build. So in the build mode, it's sort of just placing objects and materials. Okay, so assigning different materials, how to take a material that you made in SketchUp and you brought it in here, and you can just sort of add some reflection to it. Okay, weather, landscape, so kind of those build tabs, right? So under objects is pretty much everything. You're just going to have to sort of get used to how Lumion works, but if you just try and get in there and make something, you'll figure it out really quick, and you'll be amazed at how easy it is. So what I'd like you to do for your assignment is make me one rendering of your photo studio. Just one. Go in, have some fun with it. Just hopefully you're not too stressed this week, and give it a whirl, and shoot me up with any questions. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Thanks for the weird but great semester.